Things are looking pretty tough for Stormy Daniels, man. And I have a feeling that, we're really going to regret the fact that New York does not allow cameras in the courtroom if and when she testifies, because that cross-examination is going to be freaking legendary. I mean, I can see it now because really, the more we learn, the more that gets disclosed throughout this case, she's the one that looks like the criminal here. I mean, she and her shady ass lawyer, his testimony was so freaking disastrous for the prosecution that it really does make you wonder why the state would even dare call the guy. But it was ugly. If you didn't watch it, it was so ugly, or read about it. It was so ugly that even MSNBC could not believe that it happened.
How has Davidson been as a witness for the prosecution?
I think Davidson is one in a line of difficult witnesses that have already come before and are going to be coming in this trial. This is a messy trial and sort of gives us all a insight, a crack into what this sordid world is about between the National Enquirer and selling stories. It's not pretty to watch.
Catherine, what about you?
So he was helpful in that he established that there was a payoff that he negotiated with Michael Cohen, but he was helpful to the defense because he has, particularly since the prosecution didn't bring out some of his bad acts on their direct examination, he appears to be, in the defense view, just a lawyer who shakes down people, whether it was Hogan, or other people. That's what he did. And maybe that's what happened here. That's what the defense will say. This was a shakedown of Donald Trump. This wasn't about paying someone as an illegal campaign contribution. This was a shakedown. And Michael Cohen, again, it's an understatement to say how difficult a witness he is for the prosecution.
I'm not sure exactly who these two folks are. I haven't seen them on MSNBC before, but I will tell you this. They are so thoughtful and so reasonable sounding that I doubt we're ever going to see them on that network again. And, she's absolutely right. They're both right. Those are difficult witnesses. The state has put up very, very difficult witnesses, and they're digging up a dirty, nasty part of the world that it sounds like a lot of rich and powerful people really do get ensnared in. We just have no idea. And Donald Trump, of course, he's the first one, I think, to ever get prosecuted as an extortion victim. So, there's that. The guy's always a history maker. But she's absolutely right. This does not look like a crime. This looks like a shakedown. This was a shakedown. And the criminals are now being called as prosecution witnesses.
Okay, so we have our next witness. Tell me if you guys know him, a man named Douglas Dowse, New York District Attorney's Office. He's a high technology analyst. He processes digital evidence and extraction of digital devices.
He's a boring authentication witness. So there's some video, audio, or some tape that they want to bring into evidence, and he's the one who's going to establish it was not tampered with or altered in any way.
So they're going to introduce a piece of evidence, and he's going to say this is legit, and then will there be a cross on this?
You don't cross on that.
No. Okay. All right. So we've got an hour.
Oh, but they did cross on that, man. They did cross on that. And you do cross on that. Why would you not? Of course, the defense would try to undermine the credibility of not only the state's handling of the evidence, but obviously the evidence itself. So they did cross on that. And when they did the cross, the gentleman admitted that he did not really know where the audio came from. He didn't know when it was recorded. He didn't even know if it was the complete or unaltered recording. And he also admitted that his chain of custody practices left a lot to be desired.
Or left of court. We'll see if this guy, Doug Dowse, goes quickly. We'll also see what he's there to authenticate in a moment. Donald Trump has been, according to reporting, unhappy with Todd Blanche. He wants Todd Blanche to be more of a pit bull. He wants his, God, it's such a cliche now. He wants his Rory Cohn. Emil Bovee today went after Keith Davidson pretty hard, really dirtied him up, talked about all the stuff that he'd been involved with, this payoff for somebody who was stealing records about Lindsay Lohan's rehab time, talking about his dealings with Hulk Hogan, moments where he was investigated, just putting him into a very seedy world of not even tabloid journalism looks clean in comparison. A seedy world of payoffs for celebrities who don't want information to get out there. And celebrities might even be a friendly term. Some of these characters were aspiring celebrities, put it nicely. How has Emil Bovee done in the expectations of a client like Donald Trump?
Donald Trump is obviously a challenging client. Many clients are challenging. He's probably one of the hardest. I think that Todd Blanche is well known as a very good attorney, but he's a former federal prosecutor. A federal courtroom is a much more gentle,
More buttoned up,
more decorum courtroom, and it's maybe not the performance that Donald Trump is expecting. And as you said, a harder hitting cross-examination from Bovee is maybe what President Trump wants.
Catherine?
And that was hard hitting, but it was completely appropriate, and that's what you want for a cross-examination from a defense attorney. He knew what he was doing. And people on that jury, and you never want to read a juror's mind, they were left with the impression, oh, this guy is a sleazy lawyer. That's the impression. And will that make them, he's not telling the truth? But again, he did not put himself and Donald Trump together. It's him, Mr. Davidson, and Mr. Cohen. Really, him saying, I thought that he meant Trump, is not that it was Trump.
I'm still struck by the need of the prosecution to get somebody who witnessed it or heard it directly from Donald Trump or witnessed him signing the documents and knew that it was an invoice for more than legal services. Who is that person going to be? They had Rona Graff on a little bit earlier, but she was only on for a few minutes.
All she could say was, these two women are in his contacts, and I might have seen Miss Daniels in the waiting room. The charge is, if you're going to go back to it, is falsifying business records. It is not illegal in New York to put false entries in your business records. It becomes illegal if it's done with the intent to defraud, and it becomes a felony with the intent to commit or conceal another crime. So the prosecution has to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. And so far, we haven't got there yet.
All right, we're going to dive back into the courtroom in a few minutes. Catherine and Adam, stick around. Coming up next, I want to talk about media silos, how people get their information, and what that's going to mean for the upcoming election. We're so focused on this courthouse. Is anyone else? Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we absolutely have not gotten there yet. I mean, she's absolutely right. I mean, everyone paying attention can see that. But you'll notice no pushback from Katie Tur. Now, obviously, she's probably the most reasonable person on that network, also the best looking one, which makes me wonder, honestly, if she's even a real liberal. But anyway, she's not completely terrible is my point. But it is still MSNBC, which was, is, and I think will always be the Trump deranged network. And even they can't find a way to spin this nonsense into anything that looks like any kind of crime. But we'll keep watching. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next